A very good morning. I'm Dr. Iram Fatima from the Department of Languages. Today we will cover up lecture 3. So this incorporates employment communication. So along with this we'll be covering CV, resume differences, its types, drafting of CV, and then along with that we will do interview, its type and preparation for interview. Then we will cover group discussion, its do's and don'ts, preparations, presentation, manner of presentation, purpose of presentation. Along with that, we'll also do audio-visual aids and lastly, but not the least, delivering an effective presentation. So now let us start with what is resume. So resume is accordingly, as we know that, wherever if we have to apply for a job, we have to prepare a resume, we have to prepare a CV. Now we have to understand what is it, it's a document, and it's a personal brand, it's a kind of a statement that speaks of you, and this is the first impression that you give to the recruiter, to whomsoever that you have to apply. So obviously it is said that the first impression is the last impression. So it is very critical. So resume needs to be very well planned, very well organized. And we can say that people like, like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg that you're aware of. Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla, and that is a giant multinational automotive corporation, and he's also the CEO of SpaceX and X. And Mark Zuckerberg is the founder of Facebook, and of course he's also the CEO of Meta platform. So and these despite the fact that these people are businessmen and powerful and they are the CEOs, even they also need to have a resume. So you can understand that how important a resume can be in our lives, and definitely what does it do? It summarizes your educational skills, your experiences, your achievements, and what is the final purpose? Purpose is to land you for an interview. So now, to understand exactly, in terms of, its definition, we can say that as per Kitty O'Lougher is, and she is an associate professor in the Ohio State University, and she's like, her contribution is very marked in the field of business communications. So according to her, a resume is a very persuasive summary of one's qualification for employment. So as is that she's saying that what it is that one has to apply for job, for employment, and for that we all need a resume. So we can say that it's a summary of your education, of your employment, of your experience. Again, we are, like your skills, all the relevant aspects, it covers almost all the extracurricular, activities probably that you have done so far. So it is the first contact, that you have with the person to wherever that you have to apply. So it has to be very, the connotations is that it has to be very positive, and you have to be also very enthusiastic. You have to be very truthful, and you have to tailor it as per the job vacancy, it has to be very well aligned with the kind of job that you are applying for. This is very important. So every one resume will be different from the other resume, because no two resumes can be the same, is what you need to understand. Then what should be an ideal resume? It should, there are certain qualities that a resume should have. So it should be whatever that you write should be very honest. Cleanliness has to do with the typing. It has to be very neatly done. The layout also needs to be, you have to follow a certain format. The quality of paper is very important. The margins has to be there. These are the nitty-gritties that one has to really take care of. And there has to be a full disclosure, like whatever that, information that you give, whether it has to do with your educational background, whether your experiences, any references that you're giving, it has to be very truthful, and you have to, uncover and ensure that all the facts are there, because obviously the employer, your employer, whosoever is going to go through your resume, will not be able to evaluate you, in its entirety if, something lacks. Then it has to have brevity. Brevity is like, it has to be very concise. It do not need to incorporate all the unnecessary information. And then the format, it has to be very appropriate. As I just said, that selection of the format depends upon the nature of information, that whatever that you're going to provide in the resume. So there's a particular format that you can always, follow a certain, the criteria is there, and formatting can be very easily done via Google. And it has to be, so the different formats, like, because you have different types of resumes, so every resume, it follows a different format that you need to get yourself very well versed with. Then updated information is, of course, all information before you apply. You have to ensure that all your information is updated. And of course, because if any recent, if there has been any recent achievements, then you also have to ensure that that is added, and you have to go through your resume, and do a revision of it. And if there is any new skills, any new experiences, any kind of abilities, that you have, and any kind of awards, anything that you have achieved of late, you have to update it. Then of course it has certain key, obviously this has to do with key sections. Now what is key sections? Key sections are, resumes are divided into various sections, and now we have to keep in mind how we have to literally start the resume. How should we go about with it? So first is your contact information. So the first thing that you have to do is, there's no nicknames, you have to put down your full name. Then you have to have your professional address, has to be there. Not your home address, but of course your professional email address has to be there. Then your phone number will be there. Of course you have to mention your phone number. And then LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn is the largest network, social media network, whereby people go and can have build relations, can have business contacts, and even for that matter, on on a LinkedIn you can also find jobs. So this is very important. Then second is professional summary. You have to put down the objective, why you are applying. So professional summary is very important. So you are it's because obviously if you're very experienced in a certain field, supposedly you've worked for 10 years, 15 years, and you're a thorough professional, so you have to summarize it in 2 to 3 lines. You have to give in whatever your, for example, here that example has been given, that if you've been working for 5 years and in certain field like digital strategy and brand building that you've done, so you have to mention that. Then objective statement has to be there, so which is very suitable for all those who are very freshers, those who are just graduates and do not have any past experience in work. So you just have to highlight your goals, your objectives, and that how you can align. And you need to really, when you pen down your goals, you have to keep in mind and align it with the goal of the company. That is very important. Let the two of the goals has to be aligned with the goal of the company. This is very important. So an example has been given here, that if you're a graduate, you have to mention that dedicated business graduate seeking a marketing associate role to leverage analytical skills and creativity in delivering impactful campaigns. This is just one of the examples. And then comes education. So then you have to put down your degree, your institution, your graduation date, everything, all the relevant informations go down in this. Then you have, of course, the work experience that you need to mention. You have to list down all your, the works, previous work experience that you've had in a very chronological order. You need to mention the name, the location, all the employment details, dates, previous dates of the employment, wherever that you've worked. And you have to start with all action verbs. Your skills needs to be penned down, and it has to do with both your technical skills, your core, whatever that you've achieved in your workplace, It could be programming, it could be software, and your soft skills is communication, your critical, your problem solving skills and decision making skills, your teamwork, your adaptability, all this you need to mention. And obviously Python and SQL and Adobe Photoshop can always help you, right? Tailoring your resume. Then certifications and projects also needs to be added. All whatever certifications that you've got, if you've taken any project, that needs to be added. Any references, you have to pen down, you have to write available upon request. So if anybody needs to know about you, your past work, so references always has either your your head, whosoever has been heading your previous workplace. Then tips to write very effective resume. So first is, definitely have to have action verbs here. So it's like example has been given. Then quantity achievement has to do with the, you have to make you have to, kind of uh, draw in the attention. So you have to make your achievements very measurable, and you have to keep it very simple, you have to keep it very professional, avoid any kind of fancy fonts and any kind of colors. Too many colors is not desirable. So you need to just make it look very simple. It has to be very simple. The font has to be either Arial or Times New Roman, and no other font is allowed. You can put bullets wherever needed, and the page needs to be just limited to 1 to 2 pages, because this has to do with professional resumes, does not need to write in pages and pages. Then effective resume also has to do with, you have to tailor your resume, customize it as per your job. This is important. You have to proofread it, read and reread it again. And then of course you have this applicant tracking system. Every HR division of any organization always has this ATS system. So this is a compliance whereby when you apply and it reaches them, the HR will always receive it. It is received via HR section of any organization, so they can track all the resumes, and likewise you will get a call. Then of course it's a free tool. Online tools. What are the online tools for resume building? So there are various tools that you can helps you to kind of build and tailor your resume. It could be like Canva, it could be Zeti, it could be Novo Resume, it could be so obviously, and these are like free tools. You also have paid tools, where you pay a certain amount of money, and then you can also, they help you. These online platforms will help you to tailor your resume. It could be Enhance CV, Resume Genius. So obviously, and there are also proofreading tools to check your grammar. So for that you have Grammarly. Grammarly is also a paid platform, and you also have Hemingway app. So that is also paid. There are various types of resumes. We have the chronological resume, which is very traditional. That's the basic commonly used format that we have. But here the work experience is written in the reverse order. You start with the recent job, and it also, you have to emphasize your work history, your career progression over a period of time. And who should use it is basically to do with all the professionals who've got a very steady work history, who have been working very steadily and they want to change the job and in certain industries, in certain fields, and where the career is in progression. So definitely candidates who are looking to stay in the same in a similar field, and they do not want to change the field, but for better prospects, future prospects, they want to change the job. This is just an example of a chronological resume where you can just go through it. So the complete format is given, how it is tailored, how it is made. See the font and see the colors that are used here. It's a quick this is a quick preview that you can do here. Then we have the functional resume. So the functional resume focuses on your skills and abilities rather than your work history. So here you have to just mention it is a very skill based resume, rather than when and where that you did it. Your past history is not important, but what are the skills that you possess? Any firm, there are certain national and international firms who are very skill based, and they just want to see if you're like adept with reference to, with regard to certain skill is what they are looking for. And here you can change your careers, and and this functional resume is made even if there's a gap in your employment. There could be a gap of 2 years, 3 years, you could have taken a sabbatical, it could be anything. And so the career changers, those who really want to change their careers, and those who really want to have a transfer, job titles need to be transferred from one job to the other, then you can definitely go in for functional resume. And and this kind of a resume does not follow a very linear progressions, because this is very, suitable for all the freelancers and the consultants. Then again, this is a preview of functional resume, how it is made. See here, the competencies and the skills are so important, and you can see that this is being reflected. So, in full, in its, the magnitude here is, the stress here is on your skills, on your competencies. And then, of course, the certificates also are mentioned, and your educational background is so briefly written here, as you can see. Then types of resumes. So we have third type is a combination resume. So this amounts to, it's a blend of both the chronological and the functional resume. So it is again a reverse one, where the last workplace that you worked will be mentioned first. And here you can showcase both your skills and your previous job experiences in a very balanced way. Then this is again, this has to do with those candidates, those job seekers who've got a very strong skill sets, and of course they have a very stable job history also at the same time. So senior professionals who want to, obviously, they want to emphasize their leadership skills and steady progressions, they can also apply, and they can make a combination resume. So those who are career changers can also go in for combination resume. So this is just a brief, preview of it, where professional skills are mentioned, the work experience is also mentioned, and the projects that has been. So it is again one page, as you can see, and very, very skill based. And then we have targeted resume is, for a particular job, or for it is very specific to certain job, one particular job, and to certain, particular industry. So it focuses on your experiences, your past, skills, and your past experiences, the skills that you possess, any accomplishments, that relates to your job. You have to mention all of this, and every section from the professional summary, summary to the key skills and work experience, everything has to be aligned with the kind of job that you're going to apply for. This is very important. So please ensure that nothing irrelevant is being used here. It goes for all the professionals, who are who've specialized in certain industries, and anybody who's looking out for, specifically for a certain kind of a job, for a certain company, very targeted job. And all the senior professionals working in certain very high level workplace that they have worked earlier also needs to apply, and go in for targeted resume. So this is, just a preview of it, and you can see that all the relevant experiences, how, is the key focus here. And along with that, you can see that career objective is very important, and very briefly the education is mentioned, and along with that the relevant skills, the present skills that you have, and of course then the volunteers, whosoever has been there. Then difference between, so this is what is the difference between a resume and curriculum vitae. So CV and resume, definitely there's a difference to that. So now what is CV? CV is, it is very strictly to your academics, you have to mention your academics. So and resume has to do with, it has to do with certain skill based jobs that you're looking for. So the employers that are hiring you will be, hiring you for a very specific position. And in a CV, that you have to mention all your academics, whatever that achievements that you've made. and it is very very flexible. Curriculum CV is very flexible, and resume is not more than 1 to 2 pages. CV can run into many pages, you know. It could run into 5 to 6 pages also, because you have to represent all your academic achievements, you know, all your scholarly potentials, all your list of publications, all your presentations, your teaching experiences, your education so far, any honors, any grants that you've got from the government. So you see, it is very very lengthy. It is, you know, a complete summary of your educational background and all your achievements. And here you see that it is very skill based. The job is the job, you know, whosoever the recruiter is specifically looking for certain skills, and they will just recruit you on the basis of your skill. They do not want your, you know, educational experiences in length and breadth. And then of course there's a lot of, you know, publication and titles and whatever that you've taught, any classes that you've taught, everything is mentioned in CV. Whereas in resume, you have to, you know, these academic pursuits are very very not related. It's not needed actually. And all the references are there in a CV, and there's no references that are there in resume. And so it's, your CV has a complete history, you know, of all your academic credentials, your teachings, your researching, your awards, all kind of services, all kind of grants, anything that you've achieved. And your resume is just, you know, a brief snapshot of all the skills and experiences that you need to just communicate with your recruiter, and then that's that.